You picked a very appropriate one today, Bob. Weather derivatives. This is a way to hedge the hot weather.
Exactly. So you can hedge out of all of your exposure to this 100-degree weather we're having in New York City.
You wore your summer suit.
I did, because I don't own one of these derivatives. If I did, I could have worn a normal suit.
How does it work?
Well, so first of all, the interesting thing is that you can hedge out heat in the summer, snowfall in the winter, rain in the spring, frost in the fall. There's a whole family of these things. And whereas they used to just be private contracts, now they're traded on exchanges, they're cleared. It's become a real financial instrument. And
people actually trade it. I mean, this is a market?
It's a very big, a surprisingly big market, and getting bigger all the time. They're adding contracts for all the world, all sorts of new kinds of weather phenomena, and hurricanes, of course, a big one. But if you want to take one, let's take a look at the heat, the way to hedge out the heat. Mm-hmm. And so that's called a cooling degree day. A CDD is the key index. And that is set on some number above which it is assumed, believe it or not, that you're going to have air conditioning running on that day. So a CDD is a day in which you're going to need air conditioning. And what they do is they say, we're going to assume a baseline temperature for that, pick a number, 65 degrees. Then during the course of a day, we'll take the average temperature for that day from midnight to midnight at a given weather station. And if that average temperature is above the reference number, say 65 degrees, then it's a CDD. Yes.
I can't believe this. So you can't actually, there's no derivative for electricity.
Well, that's why there is no derivatives for electricity. And that's why actually a lot of companies power generators and consumers will use these kinds of derivatives in order to hedge out their exposure with, fuel costs, et cetera, et cetera. So they become, very robust, real derivatives.
That's so wild. Is the government involved in this at all?
Well, of course, they have to approve. The CFTC has to approve all of this. And when I first heard about it, and when many people hear about it, it kind of sounds funny at first. And you go, wait a minute, now the government's approving whether it's going to rain in September or something? Isn't that like gambling? And it is a little bit like gambling, but there are some real economic consequences, as we just described. So the CFTC got comfortable that this was actually, for good and proper economic purposes, and approved these kinds of contracts.
So, I mean, how does it work? Basically, you look at the weather forecast, and then you go out and see what's available, what's
you figure out what you need protection from. And so in our CDD example, the way it technically works is you buy a contract that says, listen, for X number of dollars, you will get paid a certain number of dollars based on the number of days that were CDD days times a certain specific number of dollars. So it's dollars times CDD days. That's what you get paid. And you buy that contract for a certain amount of money. And by the way, just in case you're wondering, you can get futures and you can get options on futures. So it's the whole panoply of derivatives.
You have to go to your broker. You can't trade. I mean, you can't do this at home.
You probably could do this at home if you had the right software, because it trades on exchanges in Chicago.
You just need a weather forecast.
Yeah, exactly, and a really good one. I would suggest.
Really? That is interesting. Or you could buy corn futures, because corn is about approaching a record high right now. That would have been
Is that your financial advice?
I don't offer any financial advice, but that has certainly been a way to play the hot weather.
Right, and there are other ways that people use these contracts to play the hot weather, right up to fertilize agricultural firms, all sorts of people.
All right.